time, I'm going to ask Regina to come up. She wants to say a few words. She's really the one who organized this day today. It was something that she wanted to do in remembrance of her beloveds.
Actually, it's not a few words. This is one time where I am going to be vocal. I should have printed it bigger so I could see it. Here we go. Well, what do I say? In thinking about this, I realized that I didn't get the time to really know these two people, my parents, Rocco and Rose Davina. Can you hear me? Let me get closer. Okay. What I had said was I didn't really get the time to know my parents. Okay, they were taken too soon. So I reached out to my brother Rick and my sister Robin, and also to my Colasanto and Davino cousins. And come to find out, they didn't remember much either. You see, it's been 50 years, and I can't even remember yesterday. My father was born October 7th, 1918, the youngest of 7 children. His mother died months later of the flu epidemic, and subsequent, his oldest sister raised him into a hard-working man who served our country in the Army. There's even a newspaper picture of him visiting his father in Italy. History would later repeat itself as Mary's oldest daughter, Phyllis, would raise Rocky's daughters. My mother was born June 16, 1926. However, we are not certain whether she was born in Brooklyn, New York, or in Terlizzi, Italy. You see, in the Colasanto tradition, the first female is always named Rose, and the male is always Tom. Hence, there's a lot of Roses and a lot of Tom Colasantos. So I don't know if any of you have tried to do genealogy, but that could be a problem. Many years later, my mother's grandson would be born on her birth date. Then my father met my mother, possibly through the war efforts. Unfortunately, again, nobody knows how they met. My mother had worked for Wheeler Wire. She also worked at Kresge's. Everybody knows it now as Kmart. And she earned $600 for the whole year. Oh, you're shaking your head, you know, right? You remember those days, huh? Okay. They married on May 18th, 1946 at St. Francis Church in Waterbury, Connecticut. My mother's family moved to the Hartford, Connecticut area and would do Sunday dinners at my grandparents' house. At this time, I'd like to read 2 comments made by my cousin Diane Colasanto. When I think of your mother, 2 things come to mind. One was how proud she was of you, meaning me, and so happy in your achievements. I remember when she visited, she would ask you to show us your latest dance moves. And I do remember tap dancing into the bathroom and coming back out again, never missing a step. And whatever beautiful outfit I had just gotten. Your mother just beamed at you. It was beautiful to see, and I could picture it now, though I'll admit, I was envious of you. And this is something that I just found out. This is my cousin who's my same age. She's a doctorate, and I mean, who am I? So for her to be envious of me, I'm really kind of surprised. The other thing about your mother that comes to mind is how close she and your father were. When our 2 families were together, they acted as if they were the only 2 in the room. They could make each other crack up over the silliest things. One day I remember them laughing uncontrollably over a silly mispronunciation of the word Cadillac. One of them said Cadillac, and they just took off on it, saying it over and over again in funny voices. Those are the Colasantos. Your mom had a huge impact on my life because she was the one that introduced my parents to each other. Rocky was a quiet and gentle man, a trait passed on to my brother. I have a newspaper picture of him helping at the Christmas party at the Naugatuck Firehouse. He worked for Chromium Corporation as a maintenance man. Actually, he was called into work the night of the East Coast blackout to get the lights on. Unfortunately, he was found just outside the door with a heart attack. I do remember that night very well. I was alone at the house in Wolcott, sitting in front of the fireplace. He was to pass a few weeks later of a massive coronary on December 2nd, 1965, at the age of 47. And I just remembered that his favorite artists, singers, were Connie Francis and Al Jolson, which is a unique combination. Rose, on the other hand, was an outgoing person. She did have the Colasanto humor, though, a trait she passed on to my sister Robin. Her youngest brother Paul, her only living relative, tells two stories. I remember my sister Rose's house on Madison Street very well because we spent a lot of time there. One time in particular, I have a very fond memory about was Halloween 1949. I was not quite 5. She entered me in a citywide Halloween contest, which was held in the boxing ring at municipal. I could probably do the Colasanto saying words back and forth too. Municipal stadium that was set up for the pep fight. She dressed me as a hula girl with a grass skirt, etc. Now this was a good-looking guy, but honestly, a hula grass skirt. When she was putting lipstick on me, she laughed so hard and so long. That's not something I will ever forget. The best thing is, I won the contest. I think it was a case of Coke. This is the second comment. I think I started drinking coffee around the age of 7, believe it or not. It must have been early in the 1950s when the little packets of sugar were introduced. We were over your mother's house and we were all sitting at the table and had finished eating. Coffee was being served and your mother was sitting across the table from me. I took a packet of sugar and instead of tearing it apart and dropping the sugar into the cup like you would normally do, I took the packet and hit it on the rim of the cup like you would do with an egg at the side of the pan. Raised it up off the cup a little while the sugar dropped into the cup. Well, that hit your mother's funny bone and she laughed for quite a while after that. She volunteered at my cousin Elaine's dance studio. Not only was she a receptionist, but a matchmaker too. I'm told that she drove my brother and Sabina to the Dick Clark show to dance. Rick later married Pauline Toast. Diane says, one day when Rose was at my grandparents' house too, visiting Lee, she suggested that my mom write to her brother in the Philippines. And of course the rest is history. Rose Famigletti married Thomas Colasanto and became Rose Colasanto. My mother died September 21st, 1965 at the age of 39 on her mother's birthday. I think that my being the middle child, I got their combined traits. The quiet, subtle humor. Since I won't be passing on any legacy, I hope my brother's 2 sons, Jonathan and Jason, will. Now, will you please join me after Mass for some refreshments? And I want to give a shout out to my cousin Marianne who provided them. And please take the time to look at the display I created of my parents over in the picnic area where we'll go after Mass. Then enjoy the rest of the botanical gardens. Unfortunately, though, the engraved stone has not arrived and it hasn't been placed in the memorial garden yet. Thank you. And I put those there especially. You can keep it. You can keep it. You want it? I know, and I put the candles there just so that everybody could see.
And let us say the closing prayer together. It's on the back page. Let us pray. In a whisper, in a song, I greet you when all seems wrong. We pray the dawn is yet to come, and the darkness will be undone. Amen. And I pray that God will bless you. May you always find the fellowship